What's up, YouTube? Team Yugi Fields here with another video, and today we're at Nationals with Top 32 with
Mike, Egna.
Mike Egna. And what did you play today?
I played a Majespecter Odd Eyes Magician build.
And how were your rounds in Swiss?
It was fairly diverse. I ended up playing, I think, a total of 5 Monarchs, 3 Burning Abyss, a Cosmo, 4 Pendulums, and I'm forgetting something.
It was a big mix.
Yeah. It was just nothing crazy. There was no demise decks.
Yep. And how did you finish overall after Swiss?
After Swiss, I finished 11th.
11th?
With
okay.
a 10-2 record. I was 8-0 in the first 8 rounds.
Perfect.
For day 1.
All right, so let's go ahead and hop right on into this deck.
All right, so the kind of staple guys, Performing Power Monkey Board and Joker.
Yep.
Joker is subpar in the deck, despite what people think. Like the Majespecters are the real engine cards, but like you just need to run them. They search for scales. One Archfiend Eccentric. He's actually a high scale for the deck, if you think about it. There's not as many 7s as you think in my version.
Yeah.
So just having a 7 scale just is able to get the All-Star out the Kieran. That's the card that's really good. 3 Magical Abductors. This card is a million times better than Joker. Just it gets any card you need. That Terraforming and Skyers are just great combo. Gets you any card you want. Now for the Odd Eyes cards. I only ran 2 Pendulum Dragons, a Unicorn, and a Phoenix. And that's it. Like, these are the only ones I ran. No fusion, nothing like that.
I know some people play 2 of the Unicorn. How do you feel about like playing 2 of that?
Unicorn is one of the worst draws in the deck. The only reason you have it in your deck is because Sky Iris can find it.
Yep.
So there's no reason to run more than 1. That's basically what it comes down to. And Oath Dragon can add it back. So you can just keep recycling the 1 Unicorn. If it dies, you keep getting it back. So it's not a huge issue. You want to keep your dead draws as low as possible, and this is a dead draw. You can't do anything with it once it dies. It's a level 1. If it had a level like 4 or 6 or something like that, it'd be a lot more useful. But you can't use it for anything but the summons.
It's like a turtle.
Yeah. And the reason why this is in the deck is because it's a 3 scale. And with the Majespecters, that sometimes matters if you want to summon a Fox or a Toad. Also, you can make Ignister with it, with the Magician Tuner, and they both go to the extra deck. That was a neat trick.
And you said one of your side cards you also use the Ghost Ogre.
Yep, and Ghost Ogres. Ghost Ogres will just make Ignister with it, and it works sometimes, so there's no reason not to. Going on to the Magicians, we have Zanky, Noble Dragon, and Wisdom Eye Magician. People are iffy on these 2. I think they're fantastic because this gives you access to things that beat Cosmo, things that beat Burning Abyss, things that beat Pendulums. And this is great versus Burning Abyss and Monarchs. So they're searchable cards. There's no reason to own more than 1 of them, but I feel like they're almost required to keep.
And that Wisdom Eye hit is unfortunate.
I mean, Wisdom Eye is Wisdom Eye. Yeah. If there were 3 of it, these wouldn't be there. Because the double scales are better.
Yeah.
And then there's only 2 Dragon Pit and 2 Oath Dragon. The Magicians may be the worst part of the deck because they're only useful in the scale. Oath Dragon and Zanky are the 2 exceptions, really, and maybe him, that they can get stuff back, negate stuff, synchro.
Yeah.
But like everything else really doesn't do anything, and that's what you're looking to do. You're trying to do something proactive, and that's why I cut down these guys as much as I could. So that's the Magician part of it. And now the Majespecters. So we have 3 Kieran, the best Majespecter printed, and 3 Raccoons, because he searches him. This card just runs the game for you. There's no deck that isn't affected by it. And it just sits there and infinitely grinds your opponent out. Like, this card has more resources than any deck alone. So if they can't deal with it, you will win the game.
Now, I know when we got here Friday and we went to the vendors, they had the Bambukus for like $20, and by the end of today, When I checked, a lot of the vendors were selling them for 30s. So already this card is
Yeah,
jumping yet again.
In my future match that I got, it was a mirror match, and he also topped 32, I believe. I think he lost as well. But there's more people are catching on to the fact that this unicorn guy is more than just a random quirk. He is probably one of the best pendulum monsters, standalone pendulum monsters printed right now.
Yep.
So, now this is where my deck differs from a lot of people. I ran 3 Majespecter Fox and 1 Toad. So, the reason these are in here is it gives you more rank 4 plays. And when you draw Unicorn and Raccoon with none of these guys, your searches with Raccoon become much worse.
Yeah.
You can get a second Kieran, great. It's only really good in the Monarch matchup to have 2 Kierans on board. Other than that, you're just adding random cards that don't do anything. So opening boards with Raccoon and Kieran and Fox become extremely more powerful. Now you have a pendulum match that you can just blow them out in because you have a strike that's searchable. And between Raccoons, these guys, and Abductor, you have 10 ways to get to a counter trap, which is more than most decks.
Yeah.
And you don't even need to run many of the counter traps. So your dead draws become less dead. The other version is that people run, they run Dark Ladies and Avians. And the difference between those and these is these are pendulum monsters, which means Iris is more alive for you. And suppose you open a hand where Iris has to hit something to get a scale, you can hit their Fox and then still get a counter trap.
Yeah.
Where if you have Avian, you need to have Avian on the board and summon it like that. So it makes the deck more consistent, I think. And with a deck that is able to kill you out of nowhere, sometimes I think that consistency is one of the most important things.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the monster lineup. It's 27. So on to the spells. There's a quick draw card lineup, Ignite Reloads, and Upstart Goblin. Basically, reload is super important because if you don't get to any scale, you need to get to it. Like, it's just, I think it's required. It also triggers Abductor, like both of these. That's the main reason Upstart is in here is because of Abductor. If there wasn't, there would be a better card to run.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the 3 draw cards to run. And then there are 3 Pendulum Calls and a Summoner's Art. Basically allows you to trigger Abductors and find 8 scales consistently. This also is really utility because of the Noble Dragon and Zenki.
Yeah.
You're able to search for what you need based on the matchup.
Yep. And the pendulum call is almost self-explanatory for the deck itself. Once you have magicians, you have to play the pendulum call almost.
Usually, but there are decks that just run 3 different magicians. I've seen decks that just run Dragon Pit, Oak Dragon, and Wisdom Eye.
Yeah.
And then the card's subpower. You draw a second one, you don't want to draw a second one. This one, you can toolbox it and make your guys actually do something.
Yeah.
And then for the Iris engine, I just ran 2 Terraformings in the main and 2 Sky Iris.
Perfect.
So that's it. And then for traps, just 2 Tempest.
Yep.
One thing I am considering is taking 1 Tempest out for a Tornado. Basically, Vanity's Fiend can sometimes be a problem in the side deck, and if you have an answer to it through your Majespecters, your deck becomes, again, more consistent.
So you'd side the Tornado, not main it?
No, I may main it.
Okay.
It's something to be tested.
Yeah.
But you don't want to run more than 2 traps. That I know for sure.
You don't have a lot of space to, anyways.
Basically, like you want to run the bare minimum of these while still getting value out of your Foxes and Tiller.
Awesome.
So yep, that's the main deck. Let me go extra.
Yep. We can whiz through that.
All right, so for the extra, we have 1 Vortex, and basically, I don't run Fusion, so the way you bring them out is with the Absolute Dragon. Basically, he's just a toolbox card. I don't think I actually brought him out today, but the option was there. There were times where I could have, and it would have been okay. There was just a better play at the time.
Yep.
For Synchros, I run Meteor Burst, Black Rose, and Ignister. So the only weird one here is Black Rose.
Yeah, the other 2 are really easy. This one
So if they ever leave an Odd Eyes on your board, you can just get to Noble Dragon, Black Rose them, then do your play.
Mm.
And a lot of times you can kill them. Also, if you Pendulum Call, your scales won't die, and it works out nice.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier about it being free Exciton.
So for 4s, there's Castel, Trapeze Magician, Weller, and the Utopia guys. I didn't use him once. There's just you don't really OTK as much as you think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this deck is a control deck; it always will be. That's just the way it is. So this would probably come out. There was never anything else I wanted, but everything else was great, and they did their job. Just 2 6s, Norito and number 39, Utopia Beyond. Utopia Beyond is the best card in the extra deck. A lot of games I'm just controlling, staying alive, wait for them to make a mistake and leave 2 monsters in attack, and then you do this guy and Odd Eyes, and just win the game. I don't know why people don't know this card exists, but they play right into it sometimes. So this is the card. Like, he will win you games. And then for rank 7s, a couple Odd Eyes guys, the Absolute and the Rebellion. Then there's Big Eye and Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon. I never wanted to use Big Eye ever. There's just so many different cards that you could be playing instead. It's just, I don't know what I'd put in over it. He's necessary. I brought a guy down to 100 and just made him, and the game was over.
Yeah.
And these guys are just the combo pieces to out Cosmo spaceships with the tuner.
Yep.
So that is the extra deck. And for side, so the major cards are there. Like, these are what win you the Pendulum matchup when you're going first, and the Monarch matchup when you're going first. Since you're already running 2, it's a really easy side in, and it blows them out. I don't know what else to say about it. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's just
shuts the deck down.
combo.
I ran 3 Mystical Space Typhoons for anti-spell, basically. If the deck could run anti-spell, these came in. Otherwise, I have different cards for the certain matchups.
And like you said, Twin Twisters is bad in this deck because you want to utilize your whole hand.
Yeah, basically every card matters. You're a control deck. You want the game state to be complicated. The more complicated it is, the more times you can set them up for Utopia play and kill them through everything. I side decked 3 Pendulum Storm. This card is what gives you... There's multiple cards. The main deck with the Tempest gives you an edge over a lot of Pendulum decks. And then this card pushes it over the top when you go second.
Yeah.
Because, like, if they're running Ariadnes, you just blow up their scales that's there, blow up the counter trap, and then you do your thing. With this and Dragon Pit, you can usually just clear their entire back row and then do whatever you want. Usually set up a Fox with a Kieran, and then you're all set. They can't really do anything. And then I also ran 3 Ghost Ogres. Now, this card is actually insane. It goes along the same lines as Pendulum Storm, because Pepe is a bad match, generally. It improved once I put the Foxes in, but this card is able to lock their scales with, like, Iris. Like, I believe it was round 11. My opponent opens with a Abductor, Iris, and Ariadne, and he goes to activate the Iris on the Ariadne, and I just Ghost Ogre the Iris and basically ended his turn and just took over the game from there. This is insane. And then going second versus Domain Monarchs, you just blow up Domain when they go to reduce level, or the Monarch when they activate the effect. So it's got a lot of utility, especially when going second. And then if you do draw multiples, your Iris can add the Odd Eyes Phoenix to make Ignister, or you can make Meteor Burst with a level 4. So being a tuner is actually relevant in this deck, so I think the card's awesome. And then there is Dango Seka. Basically for demise decks, because any deck that's running anti-spell is just going to standby phase it.
And you just didn't play any.
Yeah,
so
it just never came in, but it should be there. The card's awesome.
Yeah.
You need your normal summon so infrequently, so it's great. And then another all-star was Chaos Hunter. Chaos Hunter came in against Cosmos, and whenever you went second against Monarch player, because what you do is you just pendulum summon this guy, and they couldn't A3, they couldn't prime you, and then you were able to usually get like a Utopia Beyond on the board, and then attack over everything, and they usually died after that. So yeah, this card was fantastic, and every time I drew the card and played it, I won the game. So yeah, the card was absolutely amazing, and I wanted to run 3. I just couldn't find space in the main deck for a third terraforming, so we cut it down to 2, and it still did great. So,
Perfect.
yep, and that's that, guys.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your top 32.
Thank you.
Does that give you a Worlds invite or no?
No.
No, it's top 16.
Top 6 get that.
Top 6.
Who wants to go to Florida anyway? It's too humid.
Yeah, it's too hot. But anyways, thank you, Mike, for the deck
Yep,
profile.
of course.
Appreciate it. And you are representing upstate New York Yu-Gi-Oh. I also represent them as well as Team Yugi Fails. So go check them out on YouTube. Thank you once again for the deck profile. Appreciate it. And we'll see you hopefully soon in the future with more wins.